beautiful people. It is me, E.L. Winston here, your resident old man here at BlaqueOut Magazine. And remember, I told y'all that at the end of 2024 that y'all was gonna need to be what? Subscribe so y'all can catch where we going, what we doing, and who we talking to. And today is no exception. I am in awe today because I have a beautiful guest with me, Danyol Jaye. How are you?
I am wonderful and fabulous. I'm glad to be here. I really appreciate Blackout for even asking me to be interviewed. It's just really an honor. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be here.
We are honored as well because I would be remiss if I did not say that I and my editor, Tamara Lee, are super huge fans. Like, I think I've watched every video you done put up. Absolutely. And speaking of fans, every year at the end of the year, Blackout sends out a poll and people vote on different categories, the best of. And this year, you dun, 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 are the Blackout 2024 Influence Content Creator of the Year.
Oh my God. Okay, y'all can't start the interview like this. You, you get my blood pressure all up, my heart started palpitating and think, oh my God. See, and I did my makeup. I'm trying not to cry. Like this, oh, I am, thank you. Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you so much. I truly, I can't even express how that makes my heart feel just warm inside. Thank you so much.
Hey, you're welcome because I definitely voted. Yep, check. Definitely voted. I'm telling you. I mean, yo, you are like this multi threat. You're a singer, actor, um, writer, uh, online personality. I think you were a radio host at one point. Like what is it that you cannot do?
I cannot draw very well.
Me neither. I can't
uh,
draw neither.
I can't really draw that well. Um, yeah, there's a lot that I can't do. In all honesty, there's a lot that I cannot do. And like I tell everyone, I don't know everything, but what I know, I know well, and what I do well. Because anything that I do it because I want to, because I love to do it, and I really do get immersed into the crafting of a thing. Whether it be acting or singing or writing or even, being a content creator. Like there are foundations and rules in all of those crafts, and you gotta have to know it and immerse yourself in it. So I try to do that with everything that I put my hands on.
Amen. I forgot advocate as well. I forgot that part. See, I got my
I
notes.
Come on, notes. We love a good note.
Man, let me tell you, listen, I'm dyslexic
Got
and I
to
got
write it down.
ADHD. I got
You
the,
got to write it down.
you know, listen, let me tell you
I
something.
got about 3 or 4 journals sitting right here just in case I need to pull one out. I just got to write it down.
Write it down. Put it down. Write it down. Listen, I be like, what that say? No, gotta write it down. Just say write it down. Like somebody say something to me and I be, what point was I on? Yeah, I gotta go back. So let me see. Let me see. I got questions. Um. Oh, okay. This is a good one. This is a good one. So, I seen on TikTok that there's been a lot of back and forth with people about biracial people and light skinned people not being relevant or should not be speaking on the black experience. And as a biracial person of color, you have any thoughts on that, or how do you feel about the?
When it comes to the discourse on race and specifically on TikTok, I get very passionate because I feel two different ways about it. And for some reason, the conversation is always in regards to Blackness. You never really hear or come across this type of discourse in other racial or ethnic groups that are biracial. For instance, if you are white and Asian, you don't really see or hear, at least not on a major in a major mainstream way. It's always when you are Black and something else. And so I tell people I'm a Black Mexican because I understand the difference between nationality, ethnicity, and race. And so for those who do not, nationality is basically the continent and the country in which you are born. So if you were born in Brazil, you are Brazilian. Your nationality would be Brazilian. Or if you were born in China and you are Chinese, your nationality would be Chinese. But when it comes to race, we know that race is a construct. Race was something that was literally made up and created to separate classes and to separate peoples and basically the haves and the have nots.
Ooh.
Emergency warnings and things because
Ah,
um but when you look at race, we know that race is a construct, something that someone created to separate basically the haves and the have-nots. And race is about your phenotype. It is about how you look, how the world perceives you, and how the world is going to navigate you. And so it is very possible to be a person of color, right? But your race be white because that is what you look like. That is how the world navigates you and encounters you. Um, and so when we talk about biracial people and we talk about, they don't have the right to speak on, Black issues or Black things, I think it really boils down to what is their experience, what is their knowledge. Because I don't, if they're Black, they're Black. If they mama and or daddy is Black, they're Black. Whether they're
period.
Black and white, whether they're Black and Asian, whether they're a Black Mexican, whether they're Black and Chinese, like whatever the if you got a Black parent, you're Black. You understand me?
Period.
But not everybody who is biracial and who has a Black parent and a parent of another ethnicity or another race, not every one of them live a Black experience. I'm a Black Mexican that grew up in South Central Los Angeles. My biological father is Black. My stepfather is also Black. My mother is a Mexican American woman who was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles all her life. I did not grow up with the traditional Mexican culture or ethnic traditions. I didn't grow up, singing Mexican songs. I didn't grow up, with Mexican holiday. My experience in my upbringing is very much a Black American experience. And so I understand and I have encountered a lot of the different nuances of Blackness, whether it be micro and macro aggressions, whether it just be, colloquialisms that we say amongst each other, just the vibe and the energy of Blackness here in America. I understand it more so than someone who might be Black and white, but grew up in a white neighborhood and went to a white school and has a white experience despite their parent being Black. And so I think when it comes to the conversation of should they or shouldn't they, it really boils down to what's your experience. Now, I am very highly lightly melanated. I'm light bright as hell. Okay. I tell people I may be lightly melanated, but I'm hella Black. Please understand that. Um, and so when it comes to certain things where we talk about colorism, and we know that colorism is something that darker skinned people experience, not necessarily something that lighter skinned people experience. That's not a conversation that I'm going to go into with a dark skinned Black person and try to debate because that's not my experience to live. And despite my knowledge, despite my observational experience, that's not where my voice is needed. Let the person who has the lived experience have the floor, have the spotlight, and speak how their experience the way they need to speak it. Now, when I go back to these other light bright folks, who don't understand colorism and who often like to throw their light skin in as a flag of privilege, that's the space in which I speak up and say, hold up, you're being a colorist. You're being prejudiced right now. This is how this works. You're wrong. Well, I'm black too. I don't give a damn what you are. You're wrong because you don't walk around with dark skin and have to experience what someone who has dark skin has to experience within their own community and outside of the community. You don't experience that. So you don't get to bash it, you don't get to analyze it, you don't get to tear it down. That's not your experience. And I think that's where a lot of these conversations get messed. I don't know if we can curse. I'm trying to be good.
Yeah, you could
Uh,
curse. You could,
okay,
hey,
well that's where we
do
get
your
fucked
thing.
up. Okay, I feel like that's where we mess up at because the biracial folks, in my experience from what I've seen online, they cry and they bitch and they complain about not being accepted or not being a part of the black community, but then you find all of these other things on their timelines that is very much steeped in white supremacy and white privilege and microaggressions and anti-blackness. You can't have it both ways, babe. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like I don't walk around my life, you know, just inserting myself into conversations. And I understand because I look closer to a colonizer than not. I have to earn my right to speak in Black space. I have to earn my right to have an opinion in certain spaces. And that's not a diss to me having a Black father or being a Black person.
Right.
That's not, I don't take on as, oh, well, Black people don't want me, they don't accept me, because I understand the dynamic.
Right.
When I'm in a Black space, if a white person walks in, my butt get a little tight, okay? Because I don't know why you're here.
Right.
And even though to me I don't look like a white person, to somebody else I could, or I could look like someone who's ethnically ambiguous, who's just trying to appropriate Black culture and break through the gates to get into the secret places of Blackness. I get it. And so I don't get offended when someone says to me, hold on a minute. You know what I'm saying?
I got
Now, if your hold on a minute is to question whether I'm Black, then I'm gonna pop off because that's you don't get to tell me what I am and who I am. You know, Dana already decided that. The birth certificate and the DNA, they already decided
they
what I
already
am
got that.
and who I am. You don't get to battle me on that.
Right.
So, the conversation of, well, you're not Black enough, we'll pause. We gonna have a problem. But when we're talking about those nuanced conversations like colorism, when we're talking about those nuanced conversations about, even within the constructs of racism, I understand there are moments where I should not be the loudest voice in the room.
See, this is why I love you. This is why I love you right here. Yo, that brought up something. When you were saying, you don't get to tell me who I am, right? And I was having this discussion earlier with some folks, and like for me as a black trans man, right? So there are spaces that because I don't look a certain way, or my voice is not deep enough, or I haven't had top surgery or whatever the case may be, um in those spaces in our community, right? I still have to like assert who I am, right? Which is insane to me, but that just brought that to my mind, like, and as a person who is femme presenting but not trans, how do you navigate those waters? Because I'm sure you be getting some pushback in places and things like that.
I think that especially within Black LGBTQIA plus spaces, we have really got to understand and immerse ourselves in what it truly means to live in the intersectionality of a thing. You understand what I mean?
Hmm.
Just because I don't identify one way does not mean that I don't experience the prejudice by the perception of someone else that assumes I identify a way. And when we talk specifically about transness, when you hear a trans woman and Black trans men talk about, being transphobic doesn't just affect trans people. That's the precipice of what I'm talking about when I say just because I don't identify this way doesn't protect me from the perception of the prejudice that comes with assuming that I do.
Mhm.
Um, it has taken me a very long time to be comfortable with who Danyol Jaye is. And I know that that shocks a lot of people because for a very long time, the perception is Danyol Jaye's very confident. Danyol Jaye is very on the money. Danyol Jaye speaks his mind. Danyol Jaye is very confident, right? But there has been a very long time where Danyol Jaye was also very insecure, where Danyol Jaye was constantly considering how other people viewed me. And it wasn't until the decade of my 30s, I'm 39, I'll be 40 in April, it wasn't until my early to mid 30s, so within the last 5 to 10 years, that I just said, enough. Enough is enough. I don't give a fuck what you think about me. Whatever fucks I have given to the Lord. And if you want one, you're gonna have to ask him because I don't have the key. Like it's just I don't it's I don't have any to give, right? Um, And so, what that means is when I come across someone who assumes that I'm a trans woman and I get the brunt of their prejudice, I have to sit with that. It's my job to sit with that. Why? I don't get to throw it away and say, well, I'm not trans and da 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 da. I'm not trans. But what you're showing me right now gives me insight on what a trans person experiences. So being feminine presenting, still identifying as a cis man and not identifying as trans, being fluid in my pronouns, it puts me in spaces to be able to observe things and gather knowledge so that I can help the people who are directly affected by these things because they openly and loudly and sometimes even not openly and loudly, sometimes just in existing, they do identify this way. And so they automatically get the target. But as far as what people think of it, I don't give a shit about that. Now when you decide to have your thoughts become actions on my life or become actions against me and my community, then we're gonna have a problem. And if you want to nuck, I can buck. Like it it's one of those types of situations. But I understand specifically trans women, Black trans women. There's a level of understanding that I have not because I am trans, but because I'm assumed to be. And so how I interact with that community is very different than the average cisgender male presenting gay man.
See, that's why I love you. That's why I love you. Yeah, I have that discussion often, right? Because I'm like, so it's like, um, we can have that argument about who is or who isn't, but realistically, when do you think that when they trying to harm you that they not gonna harm me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when they come for you, they come for us. You know what I'm
If
saying? And
I'm
so
walking down the street with a trans woman, right,
yeah,
and some ignorant cis het folks see us, they're
mm-hmm.
not going to pause and say, well, do you identify as trans or not? They're going to see two trans women,
Exactly.
especially if I'm up in the drag, like if I'm in the regalia, if the face is beat and the dress is on and the heels is on and I'm giving slayage and my ass is looking great, they're gonna see two trans women. They're not gonna wait to ask because
No.
ignorance doesn't care. That's the point. Ignorance doesn't care. And so when I see people try to have even further divide, specifically amongst Black LGBTQIA plus folk, it irritates the deepest, darkest, curviest crevice of my most inner iridescent ass because Ignorance doesn't care.
Facts.
They don't care that you are mask presenting and someone is fin present. If they know that you're gay, the ignorance is coming your way too. And this is one of the things that we try to get cishet women to understand about being transphobic and dating transphobic men and allowing transphobic. Y'all think y'all so above the black trans woman, but baby, if you look a little hard and brick in the face, but you were assigned female at birth and you're a cisgender woman, they gonna come for you just like they would a trans woman.
Facts on facts.
And
Facts.
the oddity to me is when it comes to transness, trans women get it because people have this ignorant mindset of you're trying to be. But when you look at trans men get it because of the ignorant perception of you have to prove you are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to be a man? So, well, let's see. Can you fight? Oh, well, you still have, internal genitalia. So, like, do you get like those type of ignorant type of? It's crazy to me.
Yes,
It's
it
crazy to me,
is.
and I'll be ready to fight most days.
Man, look here. Listen, I be like, listen, I can't fight inside and outside of the community. Y'all about to get on my nerve. Like big time. But it's one of the reasons why I started my column Old Man's Corner. It was a way to one speak about my transition because I transitioned late in life. I was in my 40. I'm 53 now. I was 45 when I started.
Lies that you tell the people. What? Lies that you tell the people.
I'm 53. Yep,
Oh,
53. I'll be 54 in September. So
honey, let me tell you something. It's a whole race of people that if they said that, we would believe them. Um, so it's a blessing. Ain't melanation just a wonderful thing?
hey,
It's a blessing.
hey,
It really is a
that,
blessing.
that melanin is everything, right? And so I started it to one, you know, talk about my transitional journey and also to educate people on we don't all look the same. We don't talk the same. We don't have the same experiences because I felt like I call them the old guard. They stuck on those um heterosexual normatives that do not fit and should not fit because I feel like in a community that says that we want to be accepted for who we are, that we are so vast in our expression that no matter how I show up, I should be accepted. Like there shouldn't be a thing. So I try to educate the people as much as possible.
Amen to
On
that.
you know but like you have this very unique voice, this very unique style, like even in the spelling of your name, because I had messed it up a couple times. I had to go back and watch like a couple TikToks and hear you say your name to make sure I said it right. Right. And so it's like, where does that uniqueness come from? Like it is.
I want to say that 80% of it is just what God gave me. It's the authenticity of who I am as a person. It's my personality. It's my spirit, right? The other 30% is, I have to contribute that to my mom, which she was very big on education as far as like knowing things and being able to read and write and do well. She unfortunately was not given the cards in life where she was able to finish school. She dropped out of high school very young. She had her first child when she was 18. So her life, has always been one of labor. And there's a lot of insecurity and shame that comes with that. And so when she had me, one of the things that she harped on was, you have to be able to read, you have to be able to write. And so she wouldn't even allow people to purchase toys for me that weren't educational. So if it was a toy that just made a noise, she was like, no.
I take
it's
that
got
back
to
when you got it
it's
for real.
got to be able to make a noise but teach him, whether it's teaching him colors, teaching him letters, whatever it is, he got to learn something. And so that was a foundational. pillar in who Daniel J is. I love knowledge. I'm like Johnny Five. For those of you who remember the Short Circuit movie, who are in an age bracket to know, I need input. I need input. Johnny Five needs input. You understand? So I love I love knowledge. Um, and I think that the yearning for knowledge, the yearning to know things, and the God-given gift of my spirit that I've been given, they mesh well in a way where I'm able to speak to something with facts, but I'm also able to speak to something with feeling. I think that there are a lot of, and let me preface this because look, I'm not throwing shade at nobody for how they do what they do. There are several other LGBTQIA plus folks way more successful than me, making way more money than me on way bigger platforms than I. Okay. And I don't hate on their hustle. I don't hate on their gifts and their blessings. But there are very few LGBTQIA plus folks, specifically when it comes to feminine presenting gay men. Let's say
Mhm.
that again. Specifically when it comes to feminine presenting gay men, gay black men, there are very few of us who are able to speak with both education and the understanding of nuance, the feeling of it, right?
Mhm.
Um, I have listened to people like, I'm gonna get in trouble because I'm gonna start naming names. Saucy Santana.
Mhm.
Saucy Santana has said a lot of different things that, from a anthropological, sociological perspective, is very harmful. Comes across as very much self-hatred. The call is coming from in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I understand the sentiment that Saucy sometimes is bringing to people, specifically people not in the community, but the how that message is given is where I get lost because I understand your what, because I'm in the community, I get it. But when you're explaining that to someone who's cishet, who's straight, who doesn't understand the culture, doesn't understand the community, specifically within a black specification, those not being clear in your communication, not really being able to back it up with facts, it places them in a space to think they know something and they don't. And I was having a conversation the other day with a friend of mine, and I said, I am blessed to not only be able to be a student, but to be able to be a teacher. Everybody should be a student, but not everybody can teach. And we have a lot of people in our community that have platforms and have assumed that because I have a platform, I can
Mhm.
teach. And they're giving ill information.
That's a fact. That's like everybody with a microphone shouldn't have a podcast.
Hey, I didn't say it, you did. Okay? I didn't say
Ah,
it, you did.
I
You
said
know?
it.
You
Y'all,
know?
hey, if y'all got an issue, y'all know where to find me. You know.
I just feel like I speak to things about our community in a way that's both entertaining without necessarily being offensive. And I'm also very clear that if something I say offends you, you have to pick up the mirror and find out why, because I didn't put the offense there. Whatever offended you because of a trauma that happened way before you met me or came across my page. And so, but the majority of what I talk about, the majority of what I teach, the majority of the conversations that I have, that I partake in or that I'm invited because I'm able to be funny and entertaining, but I come with facts. I come with things that are tangible enough for a layman person who just does not understand it. They get it.
Which I like. I'm a simple guy. I like simple. I really like simple. I tell
Period.
people all the time, like, just hey, don't be giving me all them big words and stuff. Cause I just need simple. I need you to explain it to me simple. Because if you take too long and you use too long of words, my ADHD gonna have me over here. And so I'm gonna need you to keep now. Not to say that I am unintelligent. I get what you're saying, but I'm gonna need you to say it a little simpler than that for me to be on board with this. Cause 2 seconds, I'm out of here. You know. Um.
And that's most people, EL. Like most people don't want to be talked at. They want to be talked with, right? And if there's something that, like, for instance, if someone's asking me a question about the term cisgender, I've been doing this for so long, I know the difference between someone who's being facetious and someone who seriously, genuinely wants information. But not everybody has my experience. And so they might hear the question and just automatically get into defense mode. Well, Google is free. Okay, well, bitch, this is my life. Like, they didn't ask you. They asked me. Leave that determination up to me. Like, so and
Be
that's what
like,
I mean. Everybody should be a student, but not everybody can
somebody should be the
teach.
teacher. Do you think that's like one of the minuses of where social media has went? Like there are so many pluses because we are connected to so many things and knowledge that we might not have been connected to because you're able to click on your internet and find anything and everything. But in the same token, do you think that that also is a bad thing?
I think that people need to stop talking about social media like social media lives and breathes in and of itself. I absolutely understand that social media is a tool. And like most any tool, it can be used for a lot of great things. But if it's used outside of its purpose, or if it's perverted or tainted, it can be used for a lot of horrible things. And instead of blaming this concept of social media, start holding the people who are on that social media accountable. Because just because you have a TikTok doesn't mean you have to say ignorant shit. Just because you have a keyboard to type into doesn't mean that you should turn into a Twitter thug when you know you can't fight. Because I like to fight. And if you want to roll up, hey, we can solve this on the corner of Vermont and Jefferson. God bless you. But I think that a lot of times we want to blame this big bad concept of social media, and we forget people run social media. Social media lives and breathes because of the people behind it. It's no different than having a gun. A gun in and of itself, left by itself, it does nothing. But the person who picks it up gives it purpose and gives it intention. You know what I'm saying? Social media is no different. There are a lot of horrible people on social media who make social media a drag, but there are a lot of great people on social media who make social media an absolute blessing. And as a content creator, as someone who, you know, has been able to build a little bit of a platform,
A little
I
bit.
would look, y'all be making it more than what it is, honey, because when social media start paying my bills, then we could talk. But until then, it's gonna be a little bit, okay? Um, but to have the platform that I do, I wouldn't have that if people didn't engage me. And I've been able to create some really lifelong, heartfelt, real, authentic connections and friendships through social media. So I get the the disdain or the hesitation that people have with social media, or the complaint that they have about it. I understand it, but I also challenge them with, remember that there are human beings behind it. Those are the people that you need to hold accountable.
I feel that. You're gonna have to say my favorite thing, right?
Hey, Puddin.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about right there. And I'm gonna need my other favorite thing about the library because I gotta have it.
Honey, mind your comments because the library is open and I will punch your motherfucking card. Okay?
Yes, yes. Oh man, hey, let's talk about music, right? So you put out an album 2024.
I did.
I love that album. I'm
Thank you.
ready. I'm ready. So I got two favorite songs off that album. I wrote them down. I wrote them down. Hold on. Uh, um, and of course now I can't find my car. Nope, that ain't it. Uh, Nope,
Well,
can't
let's
find.
go down the list. Let's see. We got I'm Ready.
I'm ready
We
as one
have
of them.
Bittersweet.
I like
Open
bittersweet though.
Open for Business.
I like open for business, but that ain't it. I'm ready as
Uh,
one of them, and then
yeah. Then we have Tribe Living.
I like tribe living, but that ain't it.
And
Um,
then we have oh, how am I forget the title of my own song? Uh, Sugar Baby.
I love Sugar Baby. I love that one. So it's I'm ready, and then open for business, and then Sugar Baby. Definitely, I got open for business on what's called that shuffle. It just keep on playing, keep on playing. So my question would be, do you have a favorite song off the album?
I actually do. And I have two. One is not an actual song, it's just an interlude. But my favorite song off the album is Open for Business, personally. And I know that that's like an undercover cut that people don't really listen to. But the reason why I love that song so much is because when me and my writing partner created that song, we actually created it for a completely different project.
Mm-hmm.
But it allowed for me to really get into the lower parts of my register. So it's one of the only songs on the album where I'm not like singing in the rafters and doing all of this falsetto stuff and these high notes that people have come to know me to be able to do. And even just like like open up my mind and flick the pages. Like the imagery of the lyrics of that song, I love. Outside of that, the other favorite track on the album is an interlude called "Dear Officer." And for obvious reasons,
Yes.
that song is very close to my heart. And I remember doing that song as an improv. There was an app back in the pandemic called Voicey where people could create little beats and people could use those beats and sing on them. And I came across this beat and it was vibey and I was like, ooh, George Floyd had just happened. Breonna Taylor had just happened. Ahmad had just happened. Like all of these things had happened in the 2020 pandemic year. And that's just what came out of my mouth. I didn't write it. I didn't I just listened to the beat and I just sang what I felt. And that's what came out. And I took it to my writing partner and I said, hey girl, I need you to create new music because I need this. We need to record this, and we did. So those are my two favorites. Would be Open for Business and Dear Officer.
I love it. A Black Family Christmas. I wish I was in LA so I could have seen it. But how was that? And do you have any more stage plays coming up? Is that something you wish to do more of in the future?
So 1222 Oceanfront, A Black Family Christmas, for those of you who don't know, was a stage play that I did this past Christmas
Mhm.
in Los Angeles. The play was amazing. We had eight shows, and almost every show was filled and full, and people loved it. The one thing I loved about working on that project is that show is about the Black family dynamic during the holidays, but it isn't. It's not filled with trauma, and it's not filled with everything thrown in it plus the kitchen sink. We've seen those plays, those movies, those projects where it's a holiday movie, but somebody got cancer, somebody cheating, somebody dying, they losing the house, all of that. This is not that. And so it was a very, I tell people it was a Hallmark movie on stage because that's really what it was.
Right.
And people enjoyed it and I loved it. As far as future stage productions for me, I don't have anything planned yet. I do have a few people that I'm speaking to because they're trying to convince me to bring back my one man show that I did in 2010 and 2013. And I am considering bringing that back. But, we just got to find the funding to be able to make that happen. So that's currently in talk.
I'm digging it. I'm look. I'm a praying man. I'm gonna pray on it. If it's some donations needed, I might have a couple dollars on it too. Um,
Amen.
trying to tell you, hey, we, ain't nobody come to save us. We got to support our own. That's the thing. 2025. I keep telling y'all, y'all better get y'all lives. Um, Now I know it. No new information has came out yet, so if you could talk about it, cool. If you can't, I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna let these people know y'all gonna be waiting to hear more information about Indaji.
Okay, so let me talk about that. So I in oh my God, 2 years ago, when TikTok had this huge Harry Potter fandom, and there was like everybody was trying to figure out like what would Harry Potter be if it was a HBCU.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was I got into a Discord server, which is another social media application, and I connected with a few TikTok mutuals and some other people that were in the Discord purely just on the fandom of Harry Potter, right? And we thought, what if we created a world that was our own magical world, a world where it was magic involved, but black centered, black focused, and not just superimpose our idea over that white lady's stolen idea, because she stole that from a black man. I do want y'all to know that. Please remember that always. She stole that from a black man. Um, and so we thought, okay, well, let's create it. And so literally, we for 2 years we developed this world called Ndaje Niue, which in our language means safe haven. Um, and it's a community that we've built. We are looking to, at some point get into the writing process and take this thing that we've created and actually put it on the page for people to consume. But right now, we're just looking to push out the clarion call to all blurs and black creatives who are into like D&D. If you like to role play, if you like to create characters, if you're a creative writer, you like writing short stories and things like that, this is a space for you to come and be a part. Like I said, our world is very immersive. The fiction that we've created surrounding this world has been just incredible. We have tribes that you can choose from, different powers that you can pick. We have our own creatures. Some of our tribes have their own languages. And the way that, for those of you who are familiar with Discord, we have channels for everything. So when you get in the server, you have money that you can actually spend on things like fashion and cars and food and all these things. And we are opening that up to the public on, I believe, Friday, the first, tomorrow, uh, which would be January 10th, for those of you wondering the timeline. But
Now look, when y'all see this, it's gonna be way past January 10th.
but right. So, but so we're opening up the server to the public. We've been a private server with a very select membership for the past year and a half, and so this is the first time that we are going public with everything that we've created. And if you're interested, you can always check us out. If you look up Ndaji, it's literally Ndagi. On Instagram, we do have an Instagram page that you can look up and see. You can message that page if you're interested, or if you want to reach out to me, you can. My email is daniel@danieljay.com, spelled just the way that you see it on your screen. There is an application that you have to fill out if you're interested in getting into the server. And part of the application process does require you to upload a photo of yourself and a writing sample. And the reason for that is because we understand that this is a creative space. So if there are creative opportunities for people to get and to have, we want to make sure that their IPs, their intellectual properties are protected and that they're covered and not being bamboozled. And we also want to make sure that the space continues to be black focused and black centered. We do accept other people of color, other melanated races and ethnicities, but please understand this is a black space. Don't come in here trying to make it not a black space because you will get your ass put out. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna just be keep it real. Because people they're like, "Oh, that sounds great," and then they get in there and then they feel ostracized because it's not enough Latino influence, and it's like, well, girl, this ain't a Latin state. Man, you're not, we it's just not what that is. You
That
know,
this ain't that.
this
We
ain't that. This is based on blackness, on Black American specifically, Black American, culture.
specifically.
So it will always continue to be focused and centered around that. But again, we do make room for people to who are not specifically black, or a Black American to come in and still enjoy the space. Because again, the fictional side of it, you know, the different kind of like races that you can be as a character in the world, those don't have anything to do with how we look at race in the real world. So, in that regard, you can be whatever you want to be, but
I like it.
again, Black centered, Black focus.
I'm about to put in an application.
And I will be doing periodically, we will be doing recruitment seasons, every few months for people who didn't get a chance to get in the first time, and they're interested. So we'll have different recruiting seasons that we post about, where people have a chance and an opportunity to submit for an application.
I dig it. I dig it. When when we gonna have another story time? Like I already read Children of Blood and Bone, but I was following along with the story time.
I'm so bad, and I have to apologize to all of my people that were in the story time. Life just got hectic. And y'all can always tell when life gets hectic for me, because the the way that I post gets real sporadic. If you see a post from me from like 3 weeks ago and I ain't posted since 3 weeks, you know that life is lifing and Daniel is trying to make sure that Daniel is okay. And so as soon as life stops lifing, I will definitely come back and do the Sunday night story times, because I do miss them. I might have to change the day that I do them, just because, you know, Sunday nights going into Monday is kind of it's a difficult thing. Um, but I have not forgotten about the story times, and I will come back, and we do need to finish Children of Blood and Bone, and then we need to move on to some other stories and books that I'm very much interested in reading and narrating
All right, y'all heard that right? Story time coming back eventually.
this year for sure. This year,
2025 story time coming back. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today. This
absolutely.
was awesome. I am super super like my the rest of my night gonna be awesome because like I said I'm a big fan and I've been in awe of just just your presence, the way you um present and show up in the world is such a beautiful thing. And so I thank you so much for sitting down with me. My editor is gonna be super, super excited to see this because like I said, she loves you too. And
Thank you.
tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on, well, I don't know by the time this airs if TikTok will still be in existence.
Right?
But if it is, you can find me on TikTok at Daniel J Official. You can also find me on Instagram and Blue Sky under the same name. You can always reach out to me via email. Again, my email is daniel@danieljay.com. Please don't email me with no foolishness, because you will be blocked. But as far as social media, that is where you can find me. Um, and you can always go to danieljay.com to, read some of my blogs that I posted. Again, the blogs are also sporadic. I generally just blog when I feel the need. But they're good. They're introspective blogs about my life and things that I'm going through. So
Definitely, I enjoy them. I enjoy them. All right. So my sister always told me that words mean things. And so every time I end an interview, I always ask, right? What is one word, unless you got two, what is one word you can give to the people Till the next time we see you, and why is it that word?
The word is always going to be authenticity. And I choose that word because we, as specifically Black and Black LGBTQIA plus folks, we've got to understand what it means to be authentic. And when we tell people to be authentic, it does not mean that they are authentically nice. It does not equate to them being a good person. Sometimes people are authentically trash. And when we are able to see and live and breathe in our authenticity, we're able to readily discern the authenticity of somebody else and know whether or not we need to engage with them. And so that's always my hope and prayer and wish for people is that they're able to live the truth of their authenticity so that they can be better prepared and better equipped in encountering others.
I love that. Love that. Thank you. All right, y'all. So this has been a conversation with an old man. Y'all already know who I am. I'm E.L. Winston. Thank y'all for hanging out at BlaqueOut Magazine. And until the next time, I'll catch y'all later.
Bye.